Good morning. It's about 6:15 in the morning. I got up a little after 5. I hit the snooze a few times this morning because last night I was going to get into bed really early and I ended up getting in. I must have been getting close to 11. And then my son kept on calling me. He was going to sleep over at a friend's house and then it didn't work out. So he took a bus and he wanted me to meet him. He didn't have a battery in his phone, so he wanted me to meet him down at the intersection. So I had to get up in the middle of the night and I went down to, I'm trying to find a good place to, I'm juggling my coffee and this phone in between hands. I'm trying to get it without the sun in the background a little bit if I can. And so I went down to the intersection at 1 o'clock in the morning and brought him back up. So this morning already I'm a little bit tired because I've been setting my alarm for 5 to get up and have plenty of time to do all the things that I want to do before I get my kids off to school and before I start my day. Meditation and reflection and a little bit of me time, coffee, dog walk, make a video if I want. And this morning I was thinking, because I'm really set on this making a living thing. And I know that there is an art in letting go and just getting into the flow. It's like that with everything that I see, all the areas that we get stuck in. The secret is always just letting go in those areas. The thing is, have you ever noticed that the places that we're the most stuck in are the places that we get in and dig around the most in? It means that we're giving most effort, and it's futile effort usually because we're going in the same direction, looking under the same rocks over and over and over and over for answers. And when we just let go, it seems like answers come from a completely different area, things that you would have never thought of when you're hitting your head on the wall. It's like that book that I read, that book that I read. It's U2. It's like U squared. And he gives a story there about a fly that he's sitting in it. He's the opening story of the book, and it's telling. So the opening story of the book is this fly that he's sitting in a room, and there's a life and death situation going on in the room with him. And he says over in the corner there's a fly trying to get out of the window, and he sees what kind of technique the fly is using. The fly is using the technique of use more force, it'll go. And he's trying to get out of this window, and he's buzzing, and he knows, like the guy that's writing the book is saying, it's futile. Like, he's never going to get out of that window. And if he would just stop trying to fly out of the window for a second, sit back, stand back for a second and rethink options, he would be able to see that the door was open like 2 meters away. He could just turn around and fly out the door and he would be free. And so the moral of the story, if it's not obvious, I'm stopping by my bush here for these little apple thingies. The moral of the story of that is to quit putting efforts in the wrong direction, like just let go and find and flow into a different way. And that book, by the way, I really suggest reading it. It's really short, and it's super inspiring. If you're ready for a quantum leap, it talks about quantum leaps in your life. And so I'm really putting a lot of effort. I'm like the little fly on the window now in trying to make a living and trying to find a way to make a living. And I'm starting to step out of it and see different, maybe a different way of doing things. But right now I feel like the fly in the window. Um, but I do understand that there has to be some kind of flow. That means that I do have to take some kind of action in the direction of making a living. Otherwise, there is no flow for abundance to even flow in on. If I'm just sitting holding my head or holding my hands, then there is no place even for ideas to come in, for new revenues to come in. I have to set forth action and start bringing in new ideas and new things. And from setting action and doing things maybe a little bit differently, maybe doing some of the ideas that I have that I haven't done yet, which I'm doing now. I started uploading my art to Etsy. I'm going to and I have unique art. My art is unique. I'm going to use that word. Use that word. I like that word. So I'm going to start uploading what I already have, and it's leading. I can see already that it's leading from one thing to another because I've started uploading my I started uploading or something. Oh, it's a bird. I started uploading my art, and then my computer is all full of everything. So it's so full that it won't even move. So that means that I have to go in and empty out my computer. So one thing is leading to another. Emptying out my computer means I have to go in and see what files I have, and all of a sudden I'm discovering all sorts of files, and that is jogging up my my mind also, like, okay, I'm finding all these old files, and that's bringing in, first of all, it's bringing in all the energy from past, because I have so much work on my computer that I've done over the years, so much backed up, and it's taking me like on a walk through my own history, and I can see all these different projects and feel the vibe of how I felt when I was pulling those projects off. Like, a lot of those projects were, projects that I got really into and were like gung ho on. So, and that's something that I really being happy to be connected back to, the gung ho, like, yeah, for full force forward. And I'm so glad that I have the Rob Roy now for this for extra income, and for days that I get up and it's my brain is going like this. I can just go to the Rob Roy. I see people. It's kind of because I'm pretty much alone most of the time. Otherwise, pretty much alone, except for with my children. I can go visit my parents, but it's the same old. And going into the Rob Roy, also I see a business that is flourishing and fun, and people coming, and I get to meet people, and I get to be creative, and I can do my own thing, like with my own artwork, because I'm painting their signs and thing. I have quite a bit of freedom of creative freedom there. So, and it's a way for me to make more income just by being there, selling my time, and just going and doing something outside of the house that I make like a pretty good extra chunk of income while I'm thinking and coming into myself. I feel like it's a new era now. Like something closed, some kind of book closed, and there's a new book opening. I don't know if it's a new book or a new chapter in the same book, but I can feel a change in energy. There's a shifting. There's a major shifting. But what I really wanted to talk about was about this abundance thing, and and because the whole thing came and started coming up, and the thoughts started coming up to me this morning, because I have this bird that nested in the entrance of the house, and I saw the whole process. She built she built the nest out of sticks, and she built it in a box, and then at one point I saw that she had one egg, and I moved the box over to the side so it would be in a better place. And she came back, like, I moved the box before she even had an egg in it, I think. And she came and found her box, and she nested in it. And so at one point I saw one egg, and then she started sitting. And then, like, a couple days later, she got out of her nest, and I saw that there were two eggs. And then for about 2 weeks, every time I went by the box, she was just sitting there. I brought her water. I brought her some cucumbers. I don't think she really had any of the cucumber. It didn't look like it. But she was just sitting there. Her instincts took over, and she was being her mom. She was being a mama. And then a few days ago, maybe like 3, 4 days ago, all of a sudden I see she got out, and I see she has two little chicks in there that just look like they just hatched. They just barely look like they're beings. And she's still sitting on them. And now they're getting a little bit bigger, like they're a little bit moving around a little more. They're getting some feathers. And so a lot of the times that I walk by, it's just them. She's out getting food. She must be out getting food and bringing them back. And I was thinking this morning when I walked out to come out to this walk, I looked and she was in there and she was sitting on top of them. And I thought, wow, those little chicks really feel security. They have their mama there. And she is, taking care of them and feeding them and keeping them warm because it's a little bit chilly. I'm out here with a short sleeve and it's been a little bit chilly. I need to start heading back. This is where I'm sitting. See my morning view. There's this place that all these kids built. So I have my coffee and I have a chair here that's just sitting looking out over the view. I mean, come on. This is like, this is, it depends on what eyeballs you put on in the morning, right? But this is like heaven on earth, really, with the right eyeballs on. Because sometimes I come out here and I just sit and cry and bellyache. And I can feel, I can feel this like sorrow sitting right here, and like it's kind of like sorrow, pain, fear. I'm just not paying attention to it. I'm so tired of it. I'm tired of it. If it comes up and I need to let it out, I'll just let it come up. I'll cry and I'll let it out. So I was thinking how secure those birds feel. Okay, so I'm going somewhere with this, yeah? So I'm feeling how secure those little birds feel, and that they're how secure they have absolutely no concept of maybe I won't be provided for. Maybe their mother is taking care of them. And I was thinking, but within a couple of weeks they're going to fly off because that's about how long it takes them. Yeah, a couple of weeks they're going to fly off. And I was thinking, but they know exactly what to do. They'll be adult birds and they'll go and they'll build their own nest and they'll have their own eggs or whatever they do. If it's a male, whatever they do, their part in it. I don't know. That bird has been pretty much solo there taking care of all those babies and the nest. And I haven't seen anybody next to her. So she's doing a good job. I don't know, males, maybe they just give the, seed or whatever, and then they run off and play. But okay, so that was a jab. I know, it was a jab. I know, I know, I know. I guess it depends on the species, right? See, I'm like a one-person show. Ugh. So I was thinking, okay, so they're going to go off and they're going to know what to do. And then I started thinking about humans next to like birds. The birds know what to do. They go out into nature and they find food and they find sticks and they have everything that they need for their survival and thrive, to thrive in nature. I was thinking about humans, how, all of the different species, they don't, we're the only species that speak words to one another and communicate the way that we communicate and think the way that we think. We're like the only ones that come out of the now into our brains and live this life in our brains instead of in the now. They're just there, experiencing nature. They smell good. See, and there's a bee. The bees know where to go. There's like a few bees on these flowers, like, and so the birds and the bees, they know what to do. And all of the different animals know what to do, and they are born into a habitat and they know what to do by instinct, by intuition. And humans, us as a species, we're like taught against our instincts and our intuition. We're taught to use our minds instead of because our food is disconnected from the way that we get our food. So in nature, let's say the animals, they go out into nature and they find their food, they eat it. They do whatever they need to do out in nature and in the elements. With us, we don't go out, and for the most part anymore, and just get our own food as we would in nature, living with the elements. Even 2,000 years ago, you get up in the morning, you go out and you work the land. You gather, you harvest. There's your food is directly connected to what you do, to your actions. And now our food is completely disconnected from what we do. So people are disconnected from their instincts and intuitions, because our instincts and intuitions will lead us to food, water, all the things that we need in order to survive. But we're disconnected. So we don't go out into nature and get our food from nature and gather it. So in that way, we're like losing as a species, we're losing our instincts and our knowledge that is our basic human knowledge. That means we're disconnecting from our own selves. And not only that, we have to figure out now, because we're disconnected from nature and we're disconnected from the trees and the plants and the seasons even. We're disconnected from seasons. How many, even in myself, there's, the fruit and vegetables and all of those things go by the seasons. And I see in a lot of generations, also in myself, and in myself, I had to self-teach myself which fruit belonged to what season, like what grows when. And there's so many people nowadays that don't even know what seasons. We're manipulating the fruits and vegetables to have them all season round because it's money. Industry. And so my point is that our where we get our food from is disconnected from nature. That means that we have to find new talents and we have to create within ourselves new ways of getting food. And it's completely disconnected from the food. That means if I want a cucumber, I don't go out and grow a cucumber. I have to go out and do some kind of something else to make the money to come back, to go to the supermarket, to buy the cucumber, to bring it home. So our food is disconnected from where we get it from. So we are taught out of following our true nature and our intuition. So now if I want a cucumber, I don't go out and get a cucumber. I go out and I do some high-tech job and sit behind a desk, and somehow that is connected to the cucumber. I make a connection between going out, sitting behind a desk and shuffling papers to being able to get a cucumber. Are you following? Because it seems to me like that's a huge disconnect. It's a huge disconnect. It's doing a big, massive circle back to getting a cucumber, and the cucumber has nothing to do with our natural instinct. Like the bird goes out. Okay, so I was thinking about those two little birds, and I was thinking, oh no, like in a week or so, they're going to fly off, and that's it. They don't have their mama's protection anymore. And then I was thinking to myself, yeah, but they're provided for. They have their instincts. They know exactly that there is not a moment in which they feel like they're lost. There's not a moment in which they feel like, oh no, what am I going to do? My mama's gone. Who's going to take care of me? They know that they're provided for. They're going to fly off. Their mama's going to show them how to get out of that little door there, out of the little, there's a space in between the roof and like a hole that they can get out of. And they're going to go out into nature, and their instincts are going to kick in, and they're going to fly around, and they're going to find little things to eat, they're going to go out into nature, and they're going to be able to instinctively find what they need to eat. And when it's time to mate, and when time to lay eggs, they are going to know how to make a nest, and they're going to know to sit on those eggs, just like that mama bird knew. And just like when I had children, instinctively, you instinctively, I knew how to take care of my children. I nursed all my children. I have 4 kids. Somebody missed that on a previous. I love these like unique bolts and stuff. Not that I really have anything to do with them. I mean, I want to do some kind of art project. I know I've talked about that plenty. So I just wanted to say, as a species, that was the thought that I had, and it was just like, whoa, the birds, the bees, the monkeys, all of the other species are connected directly to nature, and they feel like they're provided for. There's not a moment that they, I don't know, I'm not in the monkeys feeling bank, but they know that isn't a fear of theirs. And as humankind, I know that I get up every morning and I have these basic fears of how am I going to be provided for. And it's something that it's something that follows me every moment of my life. Even if I'm, when I'm let go and I'm in the moment, then you don't think about it. But the second you're on your own, you're like, okay, how am I going to provide for myself? And we have our own instincts. If you look in nature, all of the animals that are born have instincts. They know that they belong. They know that they're provided for. There isn't a question in their mind. It's not even, there is no fear in that way, because they come out into the world, and the world is abundance. There is no minus in the world. Only in the bank and numbers and things like that is there a minus. In the world, there either is something in existence. I smell these flowers every morning. There's also a pink bush up there. Oh, here's another pink bush, but I don't feel like getting into its stickers. Even this is a white one. The different bushes have different smells. So even the white roses that I smelled before, and the second bush of white roses, they have different smells, just a little bit. You can tell the difference. But we're the only species that wakes up every morning in pure fear of what's going to be, how am I going to do this, pull this off, constant pressure, and a disconnect in between our food and where it comes from. Our food is grown in the ground, but we don't get our food from the ground. And also with eating animals, that was something when I was living in the States that was really, I'll show you the birds, because I'm already here at the entrance to the house, and then I have to get my kids. Come on. Ooh, it looks like it's already getting a little bit late. Oh, it sounded like either she just came in or she just went out, because I heard her flying. Okay, she left, so I'm going to show you these birdies, and then I'm going to say, oh, can you see them? It's a little bit dark here. I'm going to turn on the light. Hold on. Okay, look at these birdies. Look how big they are already. These are cutie pies. They're just cutie pies. Look at that. So here in a few days, they're probably going to be ready to fly. That's where they get out, the mama. So you see, so I'm having all of these thoughts that are connected to how to make a living, um, what it entails to make a living, and then I have all these things also. All the things that I'm working through. Like I said it before, the places that we're most struggling in. I noticed that those are the places that we that we put most of our time and effort into. Aviad, I'm here. My son is calling me while I'm so I'm gonna go and get my kids off to school. And thank you for watching. What was I gonna say? There was something I was gonna wrap it all up into. Oh, so pretty much I'm going through all of these thoughts and looking at everything, and I can look at this and say, oh, it's not fair. I was born into a world where I have all these instincts, and we were supposed to be living off of the land. And if we were living off of the land, then I would wake up in the morning and I would know exactly what I need to do and where my food is coming from. And because as a species, we're disconnected from where our food comes from, we have to here's our food, and we need to get it, but we can't go directly and get our food. So we have to come over here and do this and this and this in order to provide this and bring this. So it's like we have to build with our minds, not only with our instincts. We have to follow our instincts to do it, but we have to build something with our mind in order to create this roundabout that will bring the food to the table. I'm talking about food, but I'm also talking about paying rent and paying electricity and keeping my car running, and even being able to have gas to go to work. So, and take care of my kids. Okay, I don't want to get into all the traumas. Okay, I'm just going to leave it on a high note, and I'm going to continue on my day. So I can see that I woke up this morning talkative. So that's good. And my head's a little bit out of my butt, so. Okay, you gotta go. Have a wonderful day.